Shift podcast. This week, I'm Paul Sweeney, co-founder and chief strategy officer here at Webio. I'm a little croaky and I'm doing this on my own, so let's make this as quick as we can. Let's jump into some of the general industry news. There was a rise in the number of UK debt repayments in April 2024 as cost of living pressures continue to bite, according to research conducted by Nationwide. The data showed that customers prepaid unsecured debts of £735 million in April, a 25% year-on-year rise, while the number of transactions in debt repayment increased by 14%. However, customers may be using the breathing space afforded by decreases in the cost of energy and supermarket bills to pay back more of their outstanding loans. Housing continues to be the biggest cost. In context, the Office for National Statistics has said that private rental prices in the UK rose by 8.9% in the 12 months to April 2024. New analysis from the Joseph Rowntree Foundation puts financial vulnerability back front and centre. They found that millions of people are already in poverty and millions more teetering on the edge. The research found that 3.2 million people in the UK are only £40 away from poverty, £40 a week away from poverty, equivalent to the entire population of Wales. 1.1 million people are already in poverty and are only £20 a week away from very deep poverty. Around 500,000 people are only £10 a week away. Moving on to FinTech. A new piece of work from Jaz Shah, FinTech R&R reviews the development of Stripe over the past 10 years. As well as being an interesting primer on how Stripe grew over the years, it draws our attention to some basic themes that Stripe is following, and they've been basically outlined as simplify incorporation, take payment, prevent and manage fraud, get paid faster, get financed, understand risk, manage finances, and diversify revenue. With Stripe's new UK product launches, they have pay by bank and faster payouts powered by open banking. Online car marketplace Cinch uses it to reduce payment costs and improve cash flow. I'm sure it also reduces fraud. They also have Stripe Capital in the UK that gives small business access to flexible finance to invest in their own expansion. It uses the company's transaction data and business history on Stripe to proactively qualify business for financing. Another thing Jaz draws our attention to is Stripe Radar Assistant, which allows businesses to use natural language prompts to describe new fraud rules they'd like to set. The assistant then drafts them accordingly and can test them against previous payments to see if they block fraud without increasing false positives and to see if it boosts revenue. Finally, Jaz draws our attention to the mixed panel for payments product from Stripe that allows you to do all kinds of A/B testing on your checkout experience. Not only is it positioned to help companies take advantage of the different ways of presenting payments, but it is also available as a standalone service decoupled from Stripe's own payment processing. What we see here is a convergence of trends that are of interest to us on CreditShift. Instant payments, increasingly sophisticated checkout experiences, and intelligent assistants. There are many lessons to be learned from this kind of research approach to product, and I would recommend reading this article and seeing how you can apply some of this to your own services and how you can uplift performance. Section 3. Just a report on, we take a deeper report every week and just give it some consideration. This week, I draw your attention to a new report from London Business School and the IOD, the Institute of Directors, to assess the expected impact of GenAI on the UK competitive landscape. The paper, among other things, recommends that businesses focus on ensuring a strong foundation of proprietary data relative to competitors, leveraging regulatory protections, and managing the hype of AI when adopting new technologies and practices was also recommended. Now, as always, the leading firms are kind of pulling away and they're doing exceptionally well adopting the new GenAI. And they may use that to accelerate even further away from mid-table players. The fact is that GenAI is still early. The research isn't hard in this area and the benefits are still being really evaluated empirically. So it only deals with expected outcomes and expected disruptions. It's not really dealing with hard measurable outcomes most of the time. Proprietary knowledge was one of the three types of knowledge examined in the study, the other two being technical and tacit. Proprietary knowledge is based on proprietary data, and larger firms can benefit from superior data access and more robust data management capabilities, so they tend to hold a disproportionate share of proprietary knowledge. Thus, firm size plays a role in your ability to generate and capitalize on GenAI technologies. Certain industries are highlighted where proprietary data is critical, such as information and communication services, professional and scientific sectors, and administrative services. But really, across sectors, the focus in the report was on how can we use our network of users and companies to generate more and more dynamic data. Finally, companies that were good at pattern recognition, that were systematic in their generation and analysis, were more likely to see the transformative power of GenAI than those who are less strong in this area. Thus, in the highly regulated industries, less likely to see themselves as being disrupted by GenAI because they were probably somewhat protected by legislation, and it's difficult for new entrants to gain a foothold in these markets due to the barriers of entry and also gaining client trust. So I think that this is a report well worth digging out. It raised a couple of issues that I think are worth reflecting more deeply on in your own strategic initiatives. Like, how are you going to generate proprietary data? Where is that data going to come from? And how are you going to gain the trust of your clients to be in a collaborative relationship around the use of this GenAI in the future? As usual, all our sources are available in the show notes, and I look forward to catching up with you when my voice is in much better shape again, with some updates on the industry and also some new interviews with industry experts.